Good, happy Thursday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Good Evening, New Hampshire. Let's get started. First up, woman arrested after standoff charged with attempted murder. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
This was the scene Tuesday on North Road in Candia. An hours-long standoff led to the arrest of 45-year-old Deborah DeLongchamp. We spoke to one woman in town who wanted her identity to be kept private, but commented about what happened and the charges DeLongchamp now faces.
It's tragic. It's tragic for the whole family, for the child, my husband, and for Mrs. DeLongchamp. It's really sad.
Police were called to the home for a report of a distraught woman. When they arrived on scene, they say DeLongchamp's husband was on the porch and her 12-year-old daughter was inside. A SWAT team was called in and a perimeter was set up around the home. The daughter was able to get out unharmed, and after 3 hours, DeLongchamp surrendered. Earlier this week, she was charged with reckless conduct, false imprisonment, and endangering the welfare of a child. Now, new felony charges that include first-degree assault and attempt to commit murder.
I hope that the daughter also gets some help so that she'll understand what happened. Question whether she was really trying to kill her. I think she was just frantic, but I don't know.
DeLongchamp is undergoing a mental evaluation. She's being held on $250,000. Live in studio, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. New poll, Hassan takes 8 percentage point lead over Ayotte. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
For the first time in a long time, the logjam in the race for U.S. Senate is starting to loosen.
It had been very, very close for the last couple of years, but it's breaking a little bit towards Maggie Hassan.
Less than 3 weeks to go before the election, Kelly Ayotte's Democratic challenger, Maggie Hassan, has opened up an 8-point lead over the incumbent Republican, 46 to 38%. Hassan is also plus 14 in terms of favorability, while Ayotte is now 6 points underwater in that category. So what's happened? Pollster Andy Smith says look no further than the top of the ticket.
The Ayotte campaign really hasn't tried to tie Hassan with Clinton as much as I think they probably should, because Clinton is not popular in the state as well, whereas the Hassan people have been very successful, I think, recently in tying Ayotte to Trump.
But while an 8-point lead is statistically significant, according to Smith, 50% of voters have yet to make up their minds in the race for U.S. Senate. While in the race for governor, Democrat Colin Van Osteren leads Republican Chris Sununu by 6 points, but still 66% remain undecided, which makes the final weeks of this race critical to both candidates.
The debates right near the end of the campaign, I think, are going to be very important in this race, because for many voters, it'll be the first time that they ever see these two people on stage going against each other.
Right now, the trend seems to favor Democrats, but if Republicans are looking for a silver lining, Smith offers the spiral of silence, a phenomenon in which backers of unpopular candidates at the top of the ticket camouflage their support until Election Day.
And they're also less likely to talk to pollsters or admit that they're going to vote for a particular candidate. But at the end, a lot of those people still end up voting.
I want to point out those favorability numbers in the Senate race were inverted there. We'll get that corrected, and I do apologize. It's also important to remember this poll is only a snapshot in time, and with so many uncommitted voters remaining, the final outcome could look very different on November 8th. Election Day now only 19 days away. Reporting live in the studio, Josh McKelvin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. What happens if Donald Trump doesn't concede the election? Despite repeated claims of a rigged election, Republican candidate Donald Trump still managed to surprise voters Wednesday night's final presidential debate by suggesting that he would not accept the results of November's contest. Microsoft earnings 76 cents a share versus expected EPS of 68 cents. Microsoft reported quarterly results that beat analyst expectations on Thursday, giving investors confidence that the company's cloud business will continue to grow. The soul-crushing 2016 campaign. Not long ago, there was a degree of grace and civility to politics. In this toxic presidential campaign, those elements have vanished, and it was planned for all to see in the third and final debate Wednesday night. And now let's take a live look on your radar right now. Here's a live look at your radar right now. As you see on radar, we have some clouds and rain getting ready to move into New Hampshire for this evening. Now let's take a look at your weather on our weather system. Your weather on our weather system. Your wind speed peak is 9 miles per hour. Average is 2. Current is 2. In between east and southeast. Your temperature is 53 degrees. Humidity is 80%. Your dew point is 47 degrees. Your forecast is sun/rain. And your pressure is 29.97. And now let's take a look at your next 7-day forecast. And here's a look at your next 7-day forecast. And now let's take a look at your traffic. Here's a look at your traffic right now. We're seeing a lot of green roadways, and we have a few yellow areas and a few red areas. Otherwise, the traffic is moving pretty good on your Thursday evening. And that does it for Good Evening, New Hampshire. I hope you all have a great rest of your Thursday night. Good night, everyone. Bye.